My topic is on breaking the old morality in the early 1900s. So, previous to the early 1900s, culture was pretty strict. There were very specific gender roles and expectations of what each gender and each social class, economic class, what they are expected to do and how they're expected to live their lives. The young generation in the early 1900s redefined what was socially acceptable, and it was known as the Age of New Morality. So, this included the introduction of things such as jazz music and Planned Parenthood, which previous to that time were, it was just unacceptable, both those things. And barriers between different races, different genders, sexes, that sort of thing just started to kind of go away. And everyone just kind of viewed each other as equals around this time period. It was also the birth of what are known as flappers and sheiks. So these are the jazz-influenced youth mostly. They were like the rule breakers of the day, the partiers, that kind of thing. The flappers were the girls, and sheiks was the term for the boys. These groups represented the departure from the typical conservative culture at that time, and this was also a time period of a lot of gender change and social change. For example, the women started changing their typical roles. For example, they started going to work, they threw parties, modesty wasn't as big a deal anymore, and this is also when, like, quote-unquote black music started to become acceptable, which included basically jazz music. And there were a lot of African American bands that became really popular. And there's also, F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote a book called The Great Gatsby, which was regarded as one of the most popular representations of life in the 1920s. This was a great revolution of morals, aesthetics, and just everyday life. This time period can be remembered as the decade of bold innovation and experimentation. This modernism revitalized views on life, arts, politics, and even science. And even though this was a large period of acceptance, it was also a large period of rejection. For example, this time period there was a lot of rejecting of religion, purity culture, modesty, and typical traditions. And there was a large acceptance on letting loose, breaking gender roles, exploring sexuality, and just breaking the norms of the culture at the time. This new morality era largely ended in 1930, around there, during the start of the Great Depression, which basically everything crashed. It was the end of the Roaring Twenties. The new morality is kind of just, I guess if you party too hard for that long, it's bound to swing in the opposite direction. And then along with World War II as well, that also put an end to the Roaring Twenties and the new morality age. But this age is largely remembered as a time of experimentation and breaking rules, kind of a rebellious time period in American history. Yeah, thanks.